The Pacific Northwest is always a tough choice to leave. Should we go to Hawaii? I sometimes like to do that. Or should we jump on an Alaskan airline flight and go to someplace even more exotic? How about a high-speed drive through the countryside as we arrive at one of our very special suppliers? Can you know where this is? We've arrived in Michigan.
Hi, I'm Stuart, and welcome to Sirennet Television. We've had a chance to come across the Great Plains of the United States to the great state of Michigan and to drop into the town of Hudsonville to take a look at the SoundOff facility here in the United States. This is where SoundOff product is made in the US. We got to get a chance to go inside the factory, have unbridled ability to film all the different manufacturing processes that take place with respect to SoundOff product, which I'm pretty excited about. So I'm going to grab the camera, go inside, film, and let you see how SoundOff product is made. It's available on Sirennet, and it's made in the US. Let's go inside and check it out. Come on.
It's always nice to have a camera wander into a building and scare the dim and daylights out of people, but the gang here at SoundOff Signal were absolutely fantastic and allowed us to film the entire factory. Now, the area I'm going to go into now requires me to put a special strip on my shoe to make sure I'm constantly grounded. And of course, at Sirennet, I'm always grounded anyway. Chance to take a look around the factory. There's quite an extensive manufacturing facility inside those doors, and they literally build all of the product that they sell, with some exceptions, and that's to do with some school bus product. So right now here we see them putting together an array of PC boards with components being assembled on those PC boards, which in turn will go into the production line. And the camera will basically follow its way around the factory. So sit back and enjoy. I'm sure most of you who've never been inside a factory might find this interesting, and those of you who have been inside factories, well, you may find it boring, but what the heck, you're along for the ride anyway. Now, the machines I'm taking a look at right now, these are what's known as insertion machines. And you saw a moment ago those PC boards with the components being assembled. These components are then fed into these machines, which then in turn apply the solder. Now, I'm not going to make the movie too technical, but the object here is for you to take a close look at how this stuff kind of goes together and use your own imagination, I suppose, to a degree. On this particular machine right now, I'm taking a quick look at it myself, and what's going on is that they're actually putting the diodes, LED diodes, for example, are going on in this particular machine right now. Now, these boards are advancing into a kiln, and that kiln will basically get the solder to stay on the board. So it basically cooks it. Why, that camera works amazing. See, that guy even got down on the floor. If you take a look at here, we've got some amber beacons. These beacons have been assembled, and now we'll go into a testing mode. Back to the board coming off the kiln. And then once the completion boards have come out of the kiln, they'll all be individually tested to make sure that each of these components are working correctly. And this young lady showed me how they can actually amplify the board to see each individual component to make sure it is correctly soldered into place. The factory itself is quite large, actually. There's over 150 people, locally employed, working at the facility. And here they are now showing me one of their amber beacons. which is just in the testing area. Again, they make sure each of the components are tested as they move along through the production line. And obviously, in the event that they do find a problem, then they take that component out of production.
No, you're fine.
Here we have some inner pinnacles being assembled. And literally bin upon bin of different components in place, ready to go into manufacturing. And these, of course, are the corner modules for one of the light bars that SoundOff makes that have been completed and tested. Now what's going on here is these are actually some headlight flashers. The assembled PC board has been put into the housing, and they will then go to an area where epoxy is poured over those to seal and waterproof the actual headlight flashers themselves. And again, this is a similar area where these components have been set up for the epoxy to be poured into them. And then, of course, they'll go from there to testing. The funny thing, when you wander through a building with a camera, the amount of people that literally disappear, it's always fun to kind of chase people around with a camera. But again, the gang there were really nice and allowed us to film as much stuff as we wanted to. This area here in question is where they're putting together the Siren amplifiers. SoundOff Signal manufactures their own Siren amplifiers, so they are the components, for example, already on PC boards, which will then go into metal housings. Now this is their testing area, so they let me come upstairs in the building. The building is a two-level building, so I went up here, and in this area are a variety of areas. This particular space is where they actually test the amount of light that each individual light assembly emits, and they're able to measure that to give it the respective SAE or European certification that's needed. So it's a light chamber, essentially, is what this particular area is right now that I'm in. And it's totally enclosed. When the door is closed and the lights are turned off, it's pitch dark. In here we have got a machine that basically creates humidity as well as cooks the units with a certain amount of moisture. A similar unit can also drop the temperature to well below freezing, so they can create a tropical environment in these test chambers, or they can also create an area similar to the Antarctic or North Pole. So again, extensive testing is done with the SoundOff product range. And that's in Celsius, actually. It's 65 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty hot, I might say. oh look, I've opened the oven. So of course they let me open it up and get inside. Not literally, of course, I'm too small for that. But basically, here are the light bars inside that particular area. Again, we have a combination of bus lights, which is what's on the lower level there, they're testing those, and in the upper area are an array of different beacons within the SoundOff Signal family. This machine here is where they test road salt, which is quite common back on the East Coast. These are some brand new light bars, by the way, that SoundOff will be releasing very shortly. And they let me go into their product development area as well. And this is where a team of SoundOff engineers put together the different components and specifications that they will need to make things come together. Again, I must thank absolutely everybody at SoundOff Signal and all the wonderful people that allowed me to go around their factory and to film and, to a degree, intrude in some of their lives. This is Stuart from Sirennet Television saying thanks a mil.